It was my choice. My grandpa had always told me that we were going to dance at my party. He couldn't walk really fast. But he always said even if it took him half the song to get up to me, we would dance. So I went to go see him and my uncle before Mass started because I wanted them to feel not only included, but I still wanted to know that I was having it and everything was going to be okay.
Welcome to Open Seat, the podcast where we create a space for authentic conversations about faith, unfiltered and unapologetic. Here, we believe that every story matters. Whether you're questioning, seeking, or steadfast in your beliefs, you'll find something relatable in these heartfelt discussions. So grab your seat, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's story here at Open Seat. Okay, today on the Open Seat, we have Shahina Ramírez.
Hi.
I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. I can't even express to you how much I love hanging out with you, Shahina.
I like hanging out with you.
All right, so Shahina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a junior in high school. I'm turning 16 on Tuesday. I am a varsity cheerleader, and I play soccer.
All right. So we get to announce your birthday really loudly in church so everybody can be embarrassed with you this weekend.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to tell Father.
That's so scary. Everybody's going to look up, and they're going to see me, and I'm just going to be like...
16, that's a big deal.
I know.
Do you have a car yet?
Well, no, but I drive my dad's car.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think you should go for that big truck.
I drive it sometimes, but I get scared because it feels like I'm driving a whole trailer. It really does. And then I feel like my turns are so big, and they don't even be that wide. I'm like, oh my gosh.
It just scares me that you're on the road, to be honest with you.
Sometimes I actually be forgetting I'm driving. Like, I'm just, like, cruising on the street. I'm just cruising on there.
Because you're just like, Jesus, take the wheel, or because, like, you fall asleep?
I don't fall asleep. I just zone out sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I'm driving.
Oh. Okay.
It's bad to say, but...
Listen, nobody should be on the road when Shahina is on the road now. We all heard this.
Watch out for me.
So you go to Adrian High School. Do you like it?
No.
Well, just so you know, Mr. Parker's a parishioner.
I love Adrian High School. It is so amazing. Like, everybody should go there.
Oh, I'm sure he loved that one. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you've grown in your faith?
Well, my family is very religious since I was little. I've always been coming to church. And when I turned 14, that's when I feel like I started to learn more about our faith and started getting more into it. And I felt like that was a really big move for me because it has changed a lot in my life. I always had faith, but my faith has grown really strong than it ever has. So,
how do you know your faith has grown stronger?
Because I feel more at peace with myself. Mm-hmm. And when I enjoy coming to church, I always look forward to it. Even on the days when I wake up tired, I still look forward to coming to church. I like participating in a lot of things, and I'm just more open as a person than I was before.
So what happened when you were 14? Anything big, or you just, like it just happened?
Well, I went through depression for a while, and that just, really brought me down a lot. And I just, started praying, and I started doing a lot more stuff, trying to focus more on myself and growing in a lot of ways. But I feel like my depression really made me become more involved in a lot of things than I was before.
I am so grateful that you have come where you have, because now you're helping confirmation class.
Mm-hmm.
So last year you made your confirmation.
Yeah.
And by far you were one of the most outspoken ones in that class. Not on a bad way. I am grateful that we have the kind of relationship where you can just be like, Katie, seriously, no. Or we could talk about the time where you really put me in a situation when you told me that I needed to take you out to eat after your confirmation. Should we tell that story? Because that's a good one.
Yeah, we did not go to McDonald's.
All right, so what happened?
Well, I felt like we needed a reward after those 2 years being in class every Sunday with the same people.
Yeah.
And we all agreed to go to McDonald's, but Katie did not want to take us to McDonald's.
Oh, so you can't celebrate your first major life decision, which is deciding that you want to be Catholic for the rest of your life, with a Big Mac. That is exactly what I said.
But we also tried to go to Hooters, and we asked Father Mike, and Father Mike said he didn't know.
Well, we called Father Mike, and he said, I will ask the bishop. And he asked the bishop. And the bishop said, no way. Bishop said, no way. So the bishop killed the kids' dreams to go to Hooter after confirmation.
Yeah.
But what did we do instead?
We went to Applebee's.
And there were, I don't know, probably like over 20 some of us at Applebee's having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a really good dinner. It was fun.
It was.
It was fun. I hope this year's kids aren't listening to this podcast because I'm going to go broke. Yeah. But
we know we were your favorite. We always had fun.
We did. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. Every class I say, oh my gosh, these are such good kids. And you know what happens? Then the next year, those kids come along and they prove me wrong. And last year, we started a new program with you guys, Prayer Partners. Mm-hmm. How did that go for you?
I think it went really good because I still talk to my prayer partners today.
So I partnered people from the parish, mostly Knights of Columbus and Women's Guild, with different students. And we had an introductory dinner. How did you think that went?
Good.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Good. Did you get to know her a little bit then?
Yeah.
Okay. And she got to know you pretty well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we had an introductory dinner. And then throughout the year, you could text or email or call your prayer partner if you needed extra prayers for anything. Mm-hmm. And you're still talking to your prayer partner. Mm-hmm. And your prayer partner came to events.
Yeah.
So did you appreciate when she came to different things?
Yes.
Yeah.
It felt really nice to have someone show up that you barely met or are getting to know.
Yeah, because really in the church, we're a big family, mm-hmm. right? And so just getting to meet new people, new brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. All right, and last year, you did a pretty big thing called the Quinceañera.
Yeah.
Can you explain what a Quinceañera is?
It's when a female goes into her womanhood.
Right. So age 15, right? That's why it's called Quinceañera. And it's a Mexican tradition. Yes. So tell us about your Quinceañera.
Like how the party went? Or everything went?
Well, we could start with the mass.
Oh.
You had that, right? Yeah, okay. So let's start with the mass.
Well, detail by detail?
Well, I mean, people probably don't even know what they are, so.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to start from when I was getting ready?
I do.
Okay. Well, I woke up at 5 in the morning. It was bad.
5 in the morning? Okay.
Yeah, because we had to go to my grandma's house to get ready.
Okay.
Got my hair done, and I got my makeup done. And by the time I got my makeup done, it was like 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And church did not start till 1. So I had nothing to do. I was just sitting there with my hair done and my makeup all done, just watching everybody else get ready while I was just sitting there. But when it hit 11, I started getting nervous. But I wasn't nervous for the whole party part. I was nervous for the mass.
Why were you nervous for the mass?
Because I knew I had to speak in front of everyone.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. Keep going.
And, well, we had to go back home to put on my dress. That dress was heavy.
So, where did you get your dress from?
Quince Primaveras in Detroit.
Yeah, because you can't get one around here.
No,
okay.
No.
All right.
And, well, I put on my dress. It's a big, red, poofy dress. It had 3 pieces. And we put that on, and it was a struggle to get in the truck. I could not get in the truck.
They should have just put you in the bed of the truck.
It was cold. It was cold. And I had to sit sideways in the truck with my dress everywhere. I felt so uncomfortable. I could not sit properly.
You don't live that far from the church.
No, but it still felt like I went to the graveyard before, though, to go see my grandpa and my uncle. Yeah, because my grandpa had always told me that we were going to dance at my party. He couldn't walk really fast. But he always said even if it took him half the song to get up to me, we would dance. So I went to go see him and my uncle before Mass started because I wanted them to feel not only included, but I still wanted to know that I was having it and everything was going to be okay.
So was it your choice to go to the cemetery, or your parents said?
It was my choice. I had brought it up to them that I wanted to go before Mass.
Yeah.
Because I really wanted to see them, and I wanted them to see me in my dress and all ready. So I went there before Mass. So it was a pretty long car ride, but we made it work. And at Mass, I did have a picture of my grandpa and my uncle in the front seat by my chambelanes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what happens at the Mass?
I get there and I'm shaking. I'm shaking. Not only because it's cold, but because I'm nervous. Because it's a day that you dream of since you're little. It's a day you always look forward to. Ever since I was little, I was like, there's so many years still left, this and that. And then I was like, there's like 5 minutes left. I'm scared. I'm scared.
Well, and you're not the kind who really wants a lot of attention drawn to you. Mm-hmm. So here is everybody staring at you the whole day.
Yeah, just sitting right in the middle in front of everybody, and everybody's just staring at me. I felt like I could feel everybody's eyes just on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So the music starts, you process in, and did the nerves go away?
A little bit. Once I saw Father Mike walking up there, because Father Mike would just smile at me, and I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Like, I felt like that would really reassure me that I was okay and I was going to do just fine. Because in the middle of the Mass, or while he was talking, he'd just look at me, he'd just smile, and I just smile back, and it'd just be so relaxing because I'm like, he knows I'm okay. He knows I'll be fine.
And ahead of you in the Mass, all your padrinos go, right? And they're all sponsors of different things. So what all do people sponsor for a quinceañera?
Your ring. It's not really common, but an esclava.
Which is?
A bracelet, kind of. And then the necklace, and the Bible and the rosary, the cojines, the pillows, and that's it.
And so, did you handpick all your padrinos, or did they ask?
I picked.
You picked them?
Yes.
And so you had to go ask these people, will you be? Okay. So, I'm not going to ask you who your favorite padrino is, because that's probably not a good question. But is that how it usually goes? You pick who you want, and then you go ask them? Okay. Okay, great. So, they come in, you come in, Mass starts. And is it just a normal Mass?
No. Okay. Well, at the beginning it is, and then it starts getting different when you have to go up there and speak.
Oh, what do you get to say?
Prayer.
A prayer. And isn't it a prayer to Mary, and you ask her to guide you and protect you and be with you as you enter this new phase of life, right? I'm probably not completely accurate in that interpretation, but it's something along those lines, right?
Yeah, because it has brothers and sisters in it.
And so what else happens at this Mass that's different?
Father Mike blesses you with holy water and blesses your necklace and all the things. And Father Mike threw a lot of holy water on me. My eyelash came off. It came off right before Mass ended, so walked out like this. Got a picture of it. It's like, oh, okay.
It's every princess's dream, right? It's your big day and your eyelash is just hanging.
It was I was like, oh my gosh, I felt my eyelash just coming off. I was like, oh my God, in front of everybody. I was like, oh my God. Thankfully, someone had lash glue, so I got it back on after.
Should we also tell you, not just in the church where people staring, but online too, right? Because that Mass was live streamed. So everybody saw your eyelash fall off online too.
Yeah. It was so embarrassing. If you saw that, I'm sorry. Was it my intention? Just came off.
So you say a special prayer to Mary. You get things blessed. Anything else different?
You renew your baptism promises.
And how did that feel?
Good.
Good.
Because I was making the decision myself.
What decision?
To continue being Catholic.
So you want to be Catholic, huh? Good.
And when I get older, I'm going to make my kids be Catholic, too.
Well, we're going to talk about that in just a second.
Well, I'm not going to make them, but I'm going to make them want to be Catholic.
Now, there's an interesting concept, right? Not make them, but make them want to be.
Take them to church right when they're born.
Anything else special about the Quinceañera Mass? You go over and pray to Mary, right? And are in front of the Virgin and
take her flowers.
Yeah. Why do you take her flowers? Well, it's an offering, right? Like when you have a home chapel and you have Guadalupe, you always have flowers for her too, right? Probably traditionally roses, because that's what. Anything else different about this Mass? For you, it was pretty different, right? Yeah. You had a band come in the church.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Probably one of the more expensive items in this whole thing, and she forgets about it.
I had a band come in at the end of the church to play me Happy Birthday.
Las Mañanitas.
Yeah. It was loud because it echoed throughout the whole church. But
well, anytime you bring a tuba in a confined area, generally, generally it's going to be
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then after Mass, I had a carriage, and we all walked to the hall with the band behind us.
Yeah.
Everybody else walking.
That's really unusual, right?
Yeah. Had a lot of people come out their houses and start waving at me. I was like, hi.
They're like, oh, they're doing that procession again, like they do on Holy Thursday.
Yeah. They're like, man. Some of them showed up to my party.
Some of the people who came outside. Oh, they just joined right in.
No. Rihanna actually went and told them to come.
Oh, your cousin.
Yeah, my cousin. She went and she told the people to come on to the fairgrounds. Everybody's welcome. And some people did show up.
You know, she's very shy.
No, she's not. She's a very social person.
She is, yes. Yeah. So you also at your party, the fiesta, let's talk a little bit about that. Well, first you have to have like 1 million pictures after your quinceañera.
I do. I was in new boots that day. They were not broken in. I had just got them, and I had them on since the morning.
Oh.
Yeah, and we did not leave the hall till like 3.
Ooh.
My feet were swollen. They were so bad and red, and I was like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake.
So at your fiesta, the party, tell a little bit about that.
Oh, we eat. Everybody's welcome to eat.
And who made the food?
My grandma made the rice. Doña Elvira also made the rice, also helped make rice. We ordered carnitas from, I think, La Chiquita. We had a guisado also from, I think one of my mom's friends made it. I'm not for sure. And
so
what else do we have?
Pretty much family makes food. Yeah.
Or you order it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody just eats.
Yeah.
And
okay.
After a little bit passes, I dance with my court.
Oh, wait a minute. You dance.
Yeah, I dance.
Okay, so tell us about that.
Well, first of all, we dance our waltz. This is a waltz. It's like just a dance. But before that comes the introduction. The introduction song where everybody gets to know who your court is. And, well, if they don't know you and you're at their party, well, I mean, this is who I am. They get to know you, too. And then we do our waltz. And then people do it differently. But I then danced with my dad. And then I danced with a picture of my grandpa.
I got to tell you, that was one of the most moving things I've ever seen. And I didn't know you went to the cemetery beforehand to see him. So hearing that and then knowing that you danced with a picture of him, I can just imagine your relationship with your grandfather.
Yeah. We had a really good bond.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
And then after the dance, there's a surprise gift that you pick who you want for them to give it to you.
Okay.
And I picked Italis and Nicole. And they gave me a bouquet of roses, but made of dollars.
Oh.
Yeah. And Nicole makes bouquets with ribbon. So go buy some.
Yeah.
Go buy some.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me one. Her Aunt Dottie's made me one. And then they got me a picture. You know how people like draw pictures?
Yeah.
I guess they ordered a picture of me next to my grandpa and my grandma.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's framed.
Oh wow.
It's heavy. It's still not hung up because the frame is so heavy. But they got me that. And then after we do a brindis, which is a toast. And you toast to the party, to you, to, well, again, it depends who you are because everybody does it differently.
Absolutely. And
then after, you do your surprise dance, which can be like cumbias, bachata.
It's usually a mix of different things,
Yeah, it's usually a mix of things.
And that's with your court?
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's still with your court. And a lot of people, some people bring in like family members and stuff like that.
Okay.
I brought in my cousins, my primas. What did we do? Sorry.
No.
We did a dance with faldas. So I felt like that was something different because I've personally never seen anyone do that before. And I feel like that really went along with my theme because my theme was Mexicano. And it's a traditional Mexican dance.
Yep.
And, well, we did that. And then after, I danced with my chambelanes.
Which is the guys on the court.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
You also get to choose who's in the court.
Oh, yes.
It's tradition, I guess, for some people. It's like a really old tradition to have 15 boys in it since you're turning 15. And some girls have damas, which they have 14 because obviously you're the 15th.
Sure. So damas are girls on the court.
I personally didn't have that, though. But I had 4 chambelanes. I don't think I know 15.
You don't know 15
boys? No. I don't think I know that many. But I had 4.
And your boyfriend wasn't even on your court.
No.
Yeah.
He was not on my court.
Poor Purnell.
Yeah, poor Purnell. But he was still there.
Yeah,
he went to Mass.
He was.
He was at Mass. And he stayed the whole party. He even stayed to clean.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
He stayed to clean.
All right.
Pretty sure he met my dad for the first time.
Really? At the party?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good choice, Shihina. That was a really good choice.
I felt like that was a good place.
Because nothing could happen?
Yeah. But to this day, he's still around. Hangs out with my parents.
Yeah?
They kicked me out the car so I could go to their different car, and they kept him in the car. You know, feel replaced, but it's okay. It's okay.
Your feelings are not hurt, I can tell.
No.
Okay, good.
I think that's pretty good that my parents like my boyfriend.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
And I think you have influenced your boyfriend a lot because he's now studying to be an RCIA, right? He's now looking at being baptized at the Easter Vigil.
When I brought him to church for the first time, he's like, is it going to be awkward? I was like, no. It's like, it's not going to be awkward. I was like, you're going to be fine. And ever since that first day, he's honestly came to church every Sunday that we've came.
Yeah.
Too.
I see him a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
The only time he really hasn't been here is
when you're skipping?
Like, no. Not just, no. That when we're not here, but also like, because he plays football. So he has team bonding stuff and all that type of stuff. But most part, he's here. Yeah. All the time.
Yeah, always with a smile. Always here. Yeah. And so I am so excited to see him come in at the Easter Vigil.
Me too. I'm going to cry that day. I really am. Not because I'm sad or anything, but because I'm proud.
You know what? That's very impressive because what I was going to say is it's through your example that he wants to enter the church, right? Because his family's not Catholic.
No.
Yeah. So it's all what you've been doing in your lifestyle and how you treat people and how you live that he's so wants to do this, so.
And when he first decided, I was like, make sure it's something you want. I was like, don't do it because of me. Don't do it because I'm telling you or anything. I was like, make sure it's what you want to do.
Yeah, that's very true. I say that to him a lot too. But he does want to do this.
Yeah, he
does. I really think a lot of it has to do with you. So I'm glad to hear you say you're going to cry because you're going to be proud.
Yes. I was really hoping you weren't going to ask me to serve because I honestly would have kindly declined because I wanted to see. I cry a lot too.
Well, so that's the thing. So within the church, you do a lot of different ministries, Shahina. So you altar serve, you commentate, and you also are teaching. Yeah, I mean, and 16 years old. That's pretty impressive. Let's talk a little bit about how you pray. When you were in your house growing up, how did your family pray?
We have like this, it's like a cutout kind of into our wall. And my dad like decorated it.
Okay.
He put the Virgen right there. And he has like lights going up at her and everything. And we wouldn't really pray together, but we would pray throughout the day. I personally just stand there in front and I'm just in silence. And they will come downstairs sometimes, but they won't bother me or anything. They just walk past me. But I just like stand there and I just start to pray. Like if I'm having a conversation, I see it as that, like having a conversation with God.
And that's what it is, right? So, do you guys pray the rosary as a family a lot, or? No. Do you see your parents praying a lot?
My dad, yeah,
Your dad.
he does. I'm not sure what he does, but he does it every morning. He takes out his Bible, and he plays just videos, and he's just there sitting down in the morning every day before work, and then he sends us a prayer every morning because we have this family group chat, and he sends us a prayer every morning telling us how much he loves us and that he hopes we have a good day, everything. So even if I don't get to pray in the morning, I always see the prayer. So even throughout the day, I'll see it and I'll just read it and just start praying too.
How does it make you feel when you get that from your dad, or you see him praying?
I feel good because I know if I ever have a question or anything, I can just go ask him. And it feels nice that like someone's actually wishing you have a good day, And he never misses a day. He's always on top of it. Even if it's at like 6:30 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, I still see it because I wake up for school. So I have to go there. He sends us a prayer every morning, and we all reply to it and everything. I'm pretty sure he sends some to my madrina Beta too, and my tia Gloria in Mexico. I'm pretty sure they have like their separate group chat they send stuff into.
And those are his siblings?
Yes. He has 10.
Yeah, and you have a pretty close family. And this is your dad's family. So you've only lost your uncle?
And my grandpa.
And your grandpa. Did losing those two people have an impact on your life?
My uncle, I can't say not really, but it didn't really affect me as much because I was still little. And I really didn't. I would see him, but not a lot. I wasn't close to him. But we still talked and everything. But I just felt it had a lot to do because I was little when he passed away. And with my grandpa, it did affect my life because I saw him every day. We always made jokes together. We were just like best friends. We were best friends, and seeing him every day to being sick and then just like, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Just sick, laying on the bed, like not being able to move at all. The night he passed away, we were actually at his house. And I was getting ready for school that night because I straighten my hair at night because I like to get extra sleep in. Just go over my hair. And I was in the bathroom doing my hair. And he had this hospital bed in the living room in my grandma's house. And I was in the bathroom and everybody else was just out there. And, like, out of nowhere, like, I just hear people saying his name. And I come out the bathroom and they're just, like, all surrounding him. And I watched him take his last breath We all did. We all watched him take his last breath. And when we went up to him, his hands were cold. It was just so cold. Like the warmth in his body just was gone. That day was pretty hard on everybody because we were all there. We all watched him take his last breath. But at the same time, we were grateful because he was suffering. And we didn't want to watch him suffer anymore. He tried to fight through it, but he just couldn't anymore. And it was just hard seeing him just laying in the casket, knowing I wasn't going to be able to see him anymore. I wasn't going to be able to laugh with him anymore. It was just really hard because we were close. We were really close, me and him. And that just, I feel like that really impacted my life a lot.
And the good news is, right, we believe in the resurrection. Mm-hmm. So while it's hard, you're right, to lose somebody here, he's not suffering anymore. And we will see him again.
Yeah. Like, after he passed away, I used to ride the bus to my grandma's house. And, like, this white butterfly just followed me when I got off the bus, would just follow me all the way till I got to my grandma's house. And when I got to my grandma's house, the butterfly just went away. After that, I feel like butterflies are his presence. Because when we have family gatherings, two white butterflies always pass by us all the time. Or if it's not a white butterfly, it's just a butterfly. Or just on special days, there's always a butterfly. And I'm like, I feel like that's his presence. And he's making it known that he's there. Like he's gone, but he's still here with us. So
that's an amazing outlook, really. That you can be happy and sad at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a great awareness on your part. If you could give a young person some advice, what would you give them?
Probably be yourself, because the right people will love you for who you are. You don't have to change for someone to like you. You don't have to change so you have the approval of everybody. Just be yourself, because people will see who you are and will like you for who you are. Because if you try to change yourself, at one point you won't even know who you are yourself.
I can't thank you enough, because today you have shared so much with us. I know you were nervous. I know you were like, Katie, I can't do this. Katie, I can't do this. And I'm so thankful we have the kind of relationship where you can just like go, okay. But I am so thankful that you came on today, because you have shared so much. And I think it will be helpful to kids and parents to listen to this.
Mr. Parker, if you heard that, I love Adrian High School. I love that maple spirit.
Once again, we thank you for joining us today. We hope that wherever you find an open seat in your life, you will invite someone to join you.